hmm my name is Gokul. I am originally from India, but I have been living in Latvia for over 8 years now. I am currently doing my master's here in Riga, but I also work, I make content, I basically do a lot of things here at this point. I identify as gay, and as an Indian person, where being gay is seen as a problem mostly, and it was really hard to come to terms with my identity. I would say that I think being gay was decriminalized only in 2018 in India. So I came to Latvia in 2017. So it was almost a form of escape or putting distance between me and people I knew so that I could figure things out for myself. And moving away, being on my own and being an adult actually helped me have the freedom and the space to figure myself out, to experiment, and finally come to terms with who I am without a lot of external pressure. In Latvia, I do consider myself somebody who faces participation barriers. I mean, not having an EU citizenship itself is difficult because in Latvia, for example, in order to stay back after you finish your studies and secure a job and live here, the minimum salary is approximately 1,700 euros, which means that you need to have a very high qualified job in order to stay back. So you can't work minimum wage and stay back even if you get a degree. A lot of the times, I think there are barriers when it comes to where you're from, what your citizenship is, and then the color of your skin, of course. Racism is something that is around us in Latvia. But I think with time, it has gotten a lot better. Compared to 2017, the year I came to Latvia, and now 2026, when I'm filming this, things have really changed a lot. There's been a drastic shift. Riga has become a lot more multicultural. You hear a lot of different languages when you walk down the street, even in the city center. So it has changed a lot in the right direction. There is still a long way to go, but I think we are moving in the right direction. I think feeling misunderstood is something people of color go through a lot in Latvia. As someone who makes content online and puts himself up for judgment, I get a lot of comments. And a lot of the times it is revolving around the fact that people of color generally work as food drivers or they work in kebab shops or things like this. And it's not wrong, but of course it's a stereotype because not everybody does that. And I have to explain to people that I've never met that, hey, that's not what I do. I have a degree in engineering. I work in public relations. I travel abroad for work. Like I have a good job and I am educated and I do things. It's not that I work in a kebab shop or as a delivery worker. And there's nothing wrong with that because a lot of students do it. Mainly because it's hard for them to find jobs in Latvia due to the language barrier. So a lot of the times I feel like I have to battle stereotypes actively. I mean, as somebody living in, this side of the world in more of a post-Soviet culture, a lot of the times it's harder to find apartments, for example, because when you call the landlords and you tell them that you're Indian, they immediately hang up. I have had so many issues like that. But my ex was Latvian, so I just made him call. So that kind of helped me in a lot of ways. But a lot of other people of color don't have that liberty. And I started using real estate agents because then they would do all the negotiations for me and things got better in one sense. But it shouldn't have to be that difficult. It should be more accessible. There is a lot of stereotypes that, Indians or people of brown skin, let's say, because we have Indians, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, everybody here, but they all get categorized under one country as well, and they're all considered to be just delivery workers or something of that sort. And that's not true because I've met people who've been recruited to come work here with their families at very high positions in IT companies for different projects, and they're making 3 4,000 euros a month. And people like that still get considered like they're just here living on delivery worker jobs, or they're on some sort of financial aid, even, is something I've seen a lot on my comment section, which I have to explain to them that, hey, students here pay higher fees than locals. Any job we do, we pay taxes, which we don't really get back in form of pensions, because not everybody ends up staying here long enough to become a permanent resident. So there's so many factors that people tend to overlook. My social bubble, I would say, is my safe space. It is extremely diverse. I am friends with people from all over the world. I think I have really embodied the fact that I wanted to get the multicultural experience, because a lot of times when foreigners come to Latvia, they stay within their own community and they don't make friends outside it. But I actively tried making friends outside it. So I have friends from Latvia, Germany, Spain, Slovakia, and I have a Bollywood dance class that I attend here, which is mostly Latvians in the class, which is ironic. But there's so many different things I try to do in order to keep my bubble very diverse. It is my safe space. So a lot of times when I hear about attacks or racial crimes or something outside, it really doesn't make sense in my head at first, because people that I interact with on a daily, or people I surround myself with, are all open minded, are all people with, they could be LGBTQ, they could not be, the different sexualities, gender identities, different parts of their life, like starting uni, finished uni, married with children. So it's my safe space, and when I see things that are dissonant with that bubble, it does bother me. But then I have to come to terms with that, the fact that my bubble is not all of Latvia. I don't think I have a role model per se. I think I take certain characteristics from different people. And as a person of color in Latvia, I don't think there is any role model for me to actually emulate or, seek career advice from. But a lot of the times when it comes to social media or being a front facing person, I do talk a lot about this with Roberto Meloni, who is an Italian who moved to Latvia and lives here. And he's faced, let's say, well, not really racism, but he is a foreigner in Latvia who's also kind of learned Latvian and become beloved. So I usually ask him a lot of questions around this. Then I think a lot of the times I look for people on social media for inspiration. There are a lot of foreigners who move to other countries and have similar experiences. Of course, the cultural nuances are different, but I often look at them for inspiration in a sense, because there's not really one person I could say that is the role model for me. But at the same time, I also want to be the role model for a lot of people who come here, because I want to show them that you can actually make a life here, that you can actually do a lot of really cool things in Latvia. And it's not as backward or closed off as you think. You just have to really find your place in it. It can be hard, but it is not impossible. We do have a pretty big Indian community in Latvia. They often organize a lot of cultural events with the embassy, with the universities. And with these events, I do often go, I do often participate, and I often get invited, or I buy the tickets. So, however it is organized, I usually do participate in it. But I'm not an active member in organizing anything because I have so much going on. But I do always go and participate with my community. I mean, I feel like at this point I have a very confusing identity. There's so many different parts of it, because yes, I am LGBTQ. Yes, I am an immigrant, and I have to really think about all these spaces, because I would say I feel more comfortable within the LGBTQ space, because I would definitely consider myself a more whitewashed Indian in one way or the other, because a lot of my values are not necessarily Indian. A lot of my perspectives are not necessarily traditional. So, in that way, I feel more understood in a more diverse group. But at the same time, I've also seen that with time, the foreigners in Latvia community has also become more progressive and not very traditional in their mindsets. And a lot of the times I feel like exposing them to different things and asking the question what is wrong with it usually helps them come to terms with things around them. So, as someone who's living here, who does content, who interacts with a lot of Latvians in general, I do see that there is a social divide between Latvian Latvians and Russian Latvians, not just by language, but almost by mentality. And a lot of the times, I don't see the difference. They all belong in the same country. And I think a lot of the times, the Russian Latvians that say that they support Russia or they want Latvia to be part of Russia, all those kind of groups. Obviously, as somebody who lives here, I agree with Latvians who say they should just go to Russia then. If they support Russian regime, then they should go to Russia. You don't have to want this land to become part of Russia because it has its own identity. And a lot of the times, I also have interacted with Russian Latvians who struggle because they feel like they are being discriminated against. And as somebody who is double discriminated against, almost, like I am gay and I'm also an immigrant, so I really do empathize with it. I understand it. And again, discrimination makes no sense in my head, so I really don't understand it. And I try to keep my mind open, keep my social circles open. And I love having these difficult conversations because that's how you get to understand more and you get to empathize more and, take a step forward in unity, I would say. I mean, I am an immigrant. I did come to this country, so I can't really say that I want to be treated a certain way. That's imposing my own views on the cultural, political, and historical context here. But what I can do is I can take steps in order to adapt better, and I hope the community can meet me halfway. I That's why I'm trying to learn the language. I am actively trying to study Latvian. I want to do more, and I want to understand politics. I want to read Latvian poetry, and I want to immerse myself in Latvian culture. So I am learning the language, and I think learning the language is one thing that has actually helped me cross a lot of barriers with people, because whenever I go to a store or talk to Latvians in general, or when I try to speak Latvian, I see them warming up, which is really cool. So I see that when I put effort in meeting them halfway, a lot of the times they meet me halfway too.